Greetings fellow admins, so are you having a hard time playing Aether Gazer? Or is it because you have skill? Just kidding. Now not to worry, because today I'm going to share this beginner guide to Jarl, especially for some F2P players out there like me. But please do take note that this is my first time doing this guide, and this is only based on my experience and opinions from playing this game since it was released. So do write down in the comment section, if I might have missed something. So I guess that's all, now let's go on to the main topic. So first, each modifiers has a different set of gen zones, kinda similar to other action RPG games, and they also have different sets of unique abilities. Here's the description for each gen zones, so please do read it carefully. Leveling up your modifiers, so it is the first thing you need to do. That leveling up your modifier is the most important thing, especially if you're still in the early game. Leveling them up will boost your character's HP def etc. So do make sure to level up your main modifiers that you used in game. So skills are the second important you should prioritize in the early and mid stages, although you can only upgrade your modifier's skill if they are already in level 20 and up. Thus do also make sure to read each description of the skills, so that you'll know what skill you should prioritize first. You can upgrade them using the Divine Factor material. You can get them almost everywhere, either in shop, rewards, events, or in the supplies if you want to gather a lot of Divine Factors. Gearing up. You can upgrade your access keys, equivalent to weapons, and your sigils, which are your artifact slots or supporting equipment. You can equip a functor on your access keys, giving you passives to boost your primary stats and adding special effects at higher rarities. Do take note that leveling up your weapon is a must also, just like leveling up your modifiers to ensure your survivability in your team fight. Sigils will also have passive bonuses activated once you've equipped a complete set. In the meantime, just pick a 3-set sigils to get stat effects that will boost your modifier. You can also look at the sigil recommendations below. Also here's a tip, if you're still at admin level 30 below, and you decided to farm the sigils that you see from the recommend sigils, well, it's not really a good idea, since you're mostly getting only 4 or 3-star sigils. It might be good for mid stages, but still it's best to farm the sigils if you're in admin level 40 or 45 for a higher chance to get a 5-star sigil. And this is just a waste of your swigs, since instead of farming sigils you could just farm some materials that you need to level up your modifiers, skills and your weapons. This is also one of my mistakes that I did when I was still at admin level 25, so yeah, better farm for materials first instead of sigils. Don't rush, just take over the flow. I still have a lot to explain about the sigils, but I'ma only do that on a separate video soon. Then the codes or ether codes. Codes are just some patterns with some different types of unique abilities that will benefit for your modifier. Though like I said previous times, remember to read the description of the code before activating it. You can choose any kind of code patterns, and that will depend on you in whether what code patterns you should use. You can unlock them by leveling up your modifier, leveling up their skills and complete their tutorial stages. Bonus guide before we move on to the operations. Computational powers of MEOW. Players can use MEOW's computational powers to assist them in battles by following commands or using control chips to increase decision-making capacity. Different chips have different effects, unlocking them can increase potential. Beginners can benefit from using MEOW to easily access additional assistance in combat. Now let's move on to the operations. So basically in the operations, you'll do is to do the main story, farm some supplies that you need for your modifiers, sigil farming, and challenges, which I'll be discussing also in a separate video. So in the main story only has 9 chapters as of now, and there are 2 types of it, just like any other RPG games. The normal mode, which you will have to finish first and get a decent rewards by completing it, and the hard mode, which is the similar version of the normal mode. Though the difference is that the normal mode has like a ton of levels before finishing it and you'll only get a decent reward. But the hard mode is just short, since there are no more dialogues, and only the important levels are implemented. And hard mode also gave a ton of reward after completing a level compared to normal mode. Normal enemies and hard mode enemies are pretty different in terms of strength, so to make sure to strengthen up your modifiers as soon as possible. But overall, you will still have to finish a chapter in the normal mode before proceeding to the hard mode. So here, supplies are basically the place you go if you want to farm materials for your modifiers. So this is I mostly recommend to use all your swigs, so that you'll be prepared enough to max out your modifiers and your weapons. And lastly, the sigils is basically where you can farm your sigils, and other materials you need to upgrade and enchant your sigil. And I guess that's all for the operations, so here's the last guide, so don't forget to claim your rewards trough missions and the cooperation agreement to get some decent rewards from it. So I guess that's all for today's guide. Please do take note that this is just a quick guide. And I know that I still have a lot to explain, but I'll do that all in a separate video soon. If this quick guide helped you, then be sure to take a like and might consider subscribing to update from my latest videos. Though I only upload once in a while, but if you want to subscribe then that will be appreciated. That's all fellow admins, peace.